Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going over the top 5 reasons why SEO campaigns fail, and this list is compiled from my experience working with multiple e-commerce brands, and that's basically the top reasons where SEO agencies or SEO consultants or whoever is executing these SEO strategies are failing after 6, 8, 12 months, and then the clients usually come back and be like, hey, listen, where's the revenue? There's no money, there's no reason for us to invest in SEO further, and that all stems from these big issues. So if you are in the process of building a roadmap or in the process of hiring somebody to do an SEO strategy, you need to look out for these 5 things in order to be able to spot if the strategy is valid and if they have a good case that's backing the strategy. And that way you can prove the concept and you can actually execute on it with data instead of just guessing and instead of having goals that are not reasonable. So yeah, let's get started. So top tips to avoid wasting 6 months on bad SEO strategies. Search engine optimization is often a long game, but that doesn't mean it should be a guessing game. So too many e-commerce and content-led brands pour months into SEO efforts only to realize they have targeted the wrong pages, the wrong keywords, or failed to align the efforts with actual business goals. So here's how to avoid wasting 6+ months on bad SEO. So first things first, you want to make sure that the SEO is considered as a tool that the business uses to generate revenue. So you want to align what we're doing with SEO in terms of the business goals. So business goals could be moving stock through certain products or categories, moving products that have high enough margins, or really just like focusing on seasonalities and being prepared for the seasons that are to come. So what most brands do, they start with keyword tools and pick high volume keywords without context. So basically they'll be like, oh, this is my main keyword, I want to go after it. It has a lot of volume, but then they also ignore the wall of competition that's going to be waiting for them on the SERPs, or basically misinterpreting what it really takes to get there. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that you understand your business goals, what product you're trying to drive sales to, and in what category. The second thing is you want to identify high margin products, seasonal opportunities, and stock priorities. So let's say the business needs to move stock in certain category or a certain product, you need to make sure that SEO is built around these priorities. So once you have these mapped out, and I'll show you an example right now, only then you map the keyword research to those priorities, because now the keyword research is ordered by business priorities, not by market opportunities. So there might be 1,000 market opportunities, but they might not fit with the overall or overarching business strategy. So you want to make sure that you're aligning the business priorities first, and then you map them out to the opportunities on the market. So for example, this is a skincare company. What we did here is we pretty much asked them to give us all of the most important products they wanted to move or they wanted to sell the most. So what we did is we list them out here, and what we did is we ranked them by business priority level, and everything that is 0.4, that's where we really need to focus our effort on. That means these products and the collections that they belong to. And of course, we started from 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and 0.4, just to kind of give a weight to the priority weight. So that's what it should look like. Of course, you can start by mapping out the current traffic, the traffic change of these pages, like basically the current performance, and then assign them the right primary keyword for these pages. Now I didn't do that because I did it inside the overall roadmap, but that's basically how it should look like on your end. Okay, next thing, match keywords to the right page on the SERP. So what most brands do is try to rank product for broad top of funnel terms, or write a blog post targeting a keyword where Google only ranks product pages. So basically, if you have like a keyword target, let's say for example, you're trying to rank for CBD cream, right? And you have a product that's selling CBD cream, and then you see the first page here is a collection page, because that's a collection page right there. Actually, no, this is a product page. Then you want to make sure that the page that you're optimizing for is an actual product page, not a collection page. Or let's say here, if you see that most of the dominant page type that are ranking for that keywords are collections, then you want to make sure that you're optimizing a keyword for the collection. So just to give you a quick example here, let's go over here real quick, and you can see that there's the page type, there's the content type, and then also the keyword you want to rank for. So you want to make sure the keywords you're trying to assign your pages are matching the page type that you're optimizing them for. A keyword that's showing how to get rid of razor bumps, basically, it's going to give you blog pages. You want to make sure that this is assigned to a blog page, not to a collection or a product page. So you don't want to fight what Google is showing, you just want to go with it. So that's very important here. Of course, what they do instead, most of the SEOs, is analyze the top 10 searches for each target keyword and then match the intent. So if it's showing mostly collection pages, optimize or create a collection page based on your inventory availability. If it's a blog content, then just go with long form content. And of course, if it's product pages, just optimize a product page. So always when you're targeting keywords, you want to make sure that you are matching these keywords or you're optimizing the right pages for these keywords, or else you'll end up nowhere. Even if you build thousands of backlinks to these pages, it's never gonna work out. So why this matters, Google is showing you exactly what kind of page it wants for a given query. Don't fight it, just follow it. And the third thing that I see that really breaks SEO campaigns is that they are not focusing on what page types that usually drive the most revenue for e-commerce brands. They are focusing on like broad content, on product pages, on collections with no search volume. So here's basically what I'm trying to say here is you gotta prioritize pages that actually drive revenue, and you need to know what type of pages these are. So focus on collections/category pages. These catch broad and middle of funnel queries, like let's say men's trailing running shoes or vitamin serum C. So usually collections on the search pull the most amount of transactional buyers. So you want to make sure you are optimizing your collections and you're also niching them down. So for example, if you have a sofas collection, you want to see what type of material these sofas are made or what country of origin are they made in, and kind of create sub collections targeting these very specific keywords. So basically sofas, then sofas leather, then Italian sofas leather, or maybe L-shaped sofas leather. So you want to see what you have in your inventory and see if it makes sense to actually build a collection on that. So what you're doing there is you're expanding your TAM because you're reaching more people by niching down the main collection into sub collections, and you're also reducing the amount of competition that you're facing on the top level collection, which is the sofas collection. So if sofas collection is not something that you can rank for, you might be able to rank for leather sofas or L-shaped sofas or whatever attribute that comes with it. So that's why you need to focus on collections the most. Now, the second priority is building content, but not any content. You need to build the content that's actually gonna drive revenue. Broad content, like top of funnel content, is not gonna drive revenue because topics inherently don't carry any transactional value. So what you want to do is you want to build content that help the user make an educated buying decision, because that's when they will actually buy. So for example, the most known types of blogs you want to create for this type of content to work is listicles. So 10 best hiking backpacks, comparisons X versus Y, and roundups, top cold brew coffees for summer. So you're basically aggregating information and you are giving your opinion. So the user or the visitor comes in and then have a synthesis of their options in one place, and that's going to help them make an educated buying decision. And within that process, what you do is you embed yourself in the top options for the users, so he ends up picking you over the rest. And of course, now since AI algorithms like LLMs, like ChatGPT, Gemini, all of these large language models, what's like the most important page type for them is product pages. So you want to make sure you're also optimizing these. And I have a guide just for how to optimize product pages for that. But you want to make sure that these get more love and more focus on your end right now, because these LLMs are pulling a lot of searches out of Google to their search engines. And what you want to do is you want to give yourself the best probability of these LLMs to recommend you. And that's going to be built on structured data, which means the LLM can process what you're about, the organization schema, the product schema, all the attributes that come with the schema, and the trust, of course, the trust factor, and how they feel about your product and the sentiment around their product, which is basically the LLMs pull it from like Trustpilot, Quora, Reddit, all of these like forums, so they can build a positive or a negative sentiment on your product. So you want to optimize them. I have another video too that shows you how to optimize them, but yeah. So why this works, these are the pages that convert traffic into buyers. They align SEO with real revenue, not vanity metrics. So you as a founder or a marketing manager trying to justify SEO investment to your boss, you want to make sure that the SEO you're doing is yielding a certain amount of revenue, and that revenue needs to make sense against the investment you're putting in. So let's say you're paying a consultant, an SEO agency, whatever, you want to make sure that there's clear numbers for them to go off of, and then really spend more on SEO, not less. So you want to make sure you have a case for that. So of course, the fourth thing that I see a lot of people getting it wrong is learn to read SERPs like a strategist. What that means is a lot of people or a lot of brands and a lot of like in-house SEOs or consultants misinterpret the data that the search or Google is giving to them. So what that means is the main thing that I see is one, what page formats they are ranking. So basically they are mixing keyword results with page types, just like we talked about before. And of course, what are the top results dominated by aggregators? Really just kind of understanding the SERPs. But where they really mess it up is misinterpreting the data on the competition levels for certain keywords. So they would go off of the KD and the volume, but that's not really enough because these are vanity metrics and they are approximate numbers. What you want to analyze is the SERPs data. What that means is the DR, the average DR of the competition. So basically the top 10 search results for a certain keyword. You want to understand what is the average DR that it's going to take that these websites have, because that's ultimately going to tell you like what is the barrier of entry for your website to get into the SERPs or to get into the first page for that keyword. So you want to make sure you have an analysis on that. And of course, you want to gauge the traffic potential or the upside by ranking for that keyword. So what that means is you want to make sure that the competition is low and the traffic potential is high. And that's how you prioritize your opportunities. But if you're going off KD and volume, you're really having the half of the picture when you're building the strategy. So let me go back here and let me explain it real quick. So as you can see here, you have the parent keyword, you have the volume of that keyword, you also have the minimum DR on that page. So that's the barrier of entry for you to get on the first page. And the DR is basically the domain authority of your competition and of the website's ranking for that keyword. And of course, the traffic potential, which is the traffic minimal, like how much traffic we can expect if we rank anywhere on the first page for that keywords. And that combined with the volume and the KD will give you the full picture that you need to have to be able to draw conclusions, and not any conclusions, but right conclusions if that keyword is worth investing in and if that keyword is actually ranked for it or not. So what happens is you add the volume, you add the KD, you add the average domain or the minimum domain and traffic potential for this keyword, and then you add a weight to them, right? A weight is basically relative to any scale you're using, and what ends up happening here is you're adding all of the weights together so you can get the priority score. In that way, you're weighing all of the market signals and you're deducting where are the biggest opportunities based, of course, on the business goals. So this way you have a really aligned expectation from what you can get from SEO, and as well a roadmap that's really clear from where your optimization should start and where it should end. So this is basically the fourth point, which is don't misinterpret the data on the search, have the full picture and make a case for each keyword. So the fifth point is be consistently ruthless and focused. So now the SEO game plan is to identify like your 10 to 20 core keywords that matter for your business, build or optimize the best possible content for those keywords, and support them with internal links, backlinks, and updates. And of course, be patient but also strategic. Track early signals like impressions, CTR, crawl frequency to measure if your investment is paying off. So basically, if you do that, if you're consistent by optimizing the pages on your roadmap and really just like putting the right effort into creating valuable content, you should be all right. But now, once you are, like, let's say 3 months into the roadmap, 4 months into the roadmap, and you want to evaluate your progress, you want to make sure that the pages that you've built are getting impressions, are getting clicks, and of course, some revenue is starting to come in. Now, you will face on each level a moment in time where you need to actually make a decision. And that decision is you either need to further invest in the page or really kill it and not invest in the page. And what usually happens is after 1 to 4 months, there are zero improvement or signals, revisit the pages and decide if the page needs a content update or if you need to build backlinks to it. So how do you know if it needs content updates or backlinks is that, okay, you look at the competition and you look at your page and you see if they have more content than you or if they have more depth in their content, and then you try to work on your content based on who's ranking at the top. Or if you have matching content and they are not really any better than you, then you're gonna look into the backlink profile of that page and see, okay, they have 7 good backlinks pointing to that page, then I'll probably need another 5 or 7 backlinks to be able to compete against them. Now, of course, this is all gonna come down to your business priorities and how much weight you have on each page, just like I showed you earlier. Now, of course, the final thoughts and really what is the conclusion you need to get to, like the end goal here is to understand if the keywords you are ranking for are actually worth the investment and if they are making enough money. So you need to rank first to evaluate the keywords you're targeting that are actually worth the investment. In most cases, it will cost you more money to stay on top for a keyword that it actually brings back. So let's say you're ranking number one for a keyword and it's bringing you $3,000 a month. But for you to keep that ranking or to support it, you're investing $1,500 in backlinks or $2,000 in backlinks and content. Now you need to ask yourself, is that keyword worth the investment that I am putting in? Which means, example, I rank number one for a keyword that generates $2,000 per month. I'm investing $1,200 a month in backlinks and content to keep that ranking. Is it actually worth it or not? So you need to ask yourself if it's actually worth the money you're putting in to keep that keyword. And that is super important, especially when you have a lot of competition towards a keyword and the SERPs or what Google is showing for that keyword, keep like the results are shuffling back and forth, up and down, and you're not able to stabilize a ranking for a long period of time. So of course you need to go back to the drawing board and really understand if that keyword makes sense for you to keep ranking for it or really just like move on to the next and see if it's more profitable to focus on another keyword. So of course, don't waste another 6 months chasing rankings that won't grow your business. Use this framework to build a smart, intentional SEO strategy that gets results. So of course, this is basically my top 5 or 6 tips for you to know or to avoid really wasting time doing SEO. If you like this type of content, I'm gonna link this document in the description of the YouTube. Subscribe or DM me if you need help with building an SEO strategy. I can build something that's really put together and really solid for your business. And in that way, you could make the best case possible for SEO as an acquisition channel. So yeah, if you enjoyed, drop a like, leave a comment or DM me if you need any help, and peace.